Good day, everybody. So I'm just on my way home from work, and it's a beautiful 80-degree day, and this is my evening commute today. So I just wanted to quickly do a video put together. As I came home today, I realized that I haven't talked about riding at high speed on these gravel roads, and that introduces some things. And so once you have just a basic gravel road, especially one with some new or some fresh gravel put on it, or it's been freshly bladed, you can feel a massive difference in how slick that road feels once you get up above about 30 miles an hour. I've been doing these roads at about 30 to 40 miles an hour and even up to 50 in places. But on these heavily graveled roads, speed is usually a problem, and so I'm used to going 15 to 25 miles an hour on a gravel road, especially if it's got fresh gravel on it. So I've been trying to learn to go faster, just because I have 80 miles to go from my work to my home, or vice versa, and I'd like to do that in a reasonable period of time. So I just wanted to quickly show you how I ride these roads and give you some tips on what I've learned, and I'd love to hear from you, the community, about how you go through these roads and how you actually ride down these roads safely, quickly, and effectively. The basic concept that I'd like to show you is what Brent Tax calls the weightless rider. In other words, we want to have our weight on the pegs, and we want to grip the bike with our knees like any good body position would have, but then we're also going to concentrate on letting the bike move. Because what's going to happen is as you move around on this gravel, especially when you get into gravel, gravel that's this size, a couple inches in size all the way down to a pea-sized gravel, it's going to move around a lot. The larger size of the gravel, the more your bike's going to move. So out here in Wyoming, a lot of these roads get these, which is maybe a small baby head rock, baseball-sized rocks, and that's what they coat the roads with because they got semis riding on these, large, heavy equipment, and so those rocks will throw your bike all over the place. And what you have to learn when you get up to speed a little bit is you're going to hit those rocks whether you like it or not, because they're everywhere on some of these roads. And so what I've learned is the bike actually wants to go straight down the road. The geometry of the bike, the rig, the lead of the bike, the design of these bikes is they want to stand up and they want to go straight. And any time spent researching on how motorcycles work will teach you that. And so if you fight that bike trying to stand back up, you'll actually cause it to lean over more. So let's say I hit one of these rocks and the front end kicks out on me a little bit on the front end, and I fight that. Well, when I fight that, the bike can't auto-correct itself, and then I end up doing basically counter steering, and I end up throwing myself into a turn I didn't mean to do. So what you want to do is you want to have a loose grip. And to give you an idea of how I try to grip the bars, is I grab the bars like this, or perhaps I can show you like this. So this is how I want to hold the bars, basically with the middles of my fingers and just touching it with my thumb. And the only reason I even have that much on there is so I can use the throttle, and I just want to use smooth movements. So loose grip on the throttle, most of my weight on the pegs. I can put my weight on the seat if I want, but especially in the scarier bits where I feel the bike moving around a lot, I want to get up on the pegs, and I don't have to completely stand up, but I definitely want to get my weight on the pegs, become more of a neutral force to the bike, and let it do what it wants to do, which is to ride down the road straight. The next thing I'm going to do, and then of course I'm going to concentrate on not having a grip on the handlebars, so much so that I can take my hands off the handlebars and it's not going to affect anything. And that is really true. So always test yourself to see if you're doing that. I have to constantly remind myself to have a light grip on those bars. And then the final thing that you really want to do is use smooth movements. So this is the same technique that you would use for teaching a kid how to drive in the snow or the ice or in dangerous conditions, heavy rain and things like that. And that is to use smooth movements. So you don't want to be very quick on the throttle, you don't want to be quick on the clutch, and you don't want to be quick on the brakes. The clutch, you can feather a little bit here and there. If you feel yourself losing power and you need a little bit more, you can use it for getting yourself, to start to slow down or to freewheel a little bit. That can be advantageous, but you really want to use very smooth movements and very slow changes rather than fast changes. A lot of throttle will cause the back end to kick out even worse than it is, and cutting the throttle, in other words, going forward on the throttle and trying to cut the motor down and using a lot of engine brake or hitting the rear brake will also cause the back end to dive and to dart all over the place, and you possibly go into a skid you cannot recover from. The same goes true for the front wheel. You can certainly use a little bit of front brake, but of course you want to be careful with that when you're on these loose surfaces because they can lock up very much easier. And you also change the geometry of the bike when you apply brake to the front end. That brings your weight forward, that off-rates the rear wheel, which causes you to slip more in the rear, but it will cause you to grip a little bit more in the front, and there is times when that might be advantageous. And motocross racers as well as desert racers do use the front brake quite often, and especially enduro riders use the front brake a lot through technical terrain. I'm not talking necessarily about technical terrain today, I'm just talking about high-speed gravel roads. And the reason that is a concern to me is, of course, is I've picked up a lot of patience on high-speed gravel roads. A lot of people, they spend the whole weekend riding around in the mountains doing super technical, steep, crazy hill climbs, and then they pile up sending it down on these gravel roads as they're going back to their house or back to their trailer. So, as a dual sport rider, this is a heavy bike. I'm probably well over 400 pounds with all my gear on here, and so going down is not fun, especially at high speed. So trusting the bike and trusting that the geometry and the science of the bike is your best bet. I apologize for the sound in this video. The wind and the lack of a windscreen on my microphone just did not want to play well this day, but I just wanted to thank you for your time spent watching this video. Remember that loose grip on the handlebars, letting the bike move below you, and smooth changes to the controls can make all the difference when riding on high-speed gravel as well as in many other conditions. And we want to really sincerely thank Brett Tax for his information on a recent video he gave on being the weightless rider. If you'd like to see that video, click on the link in the description and send him a like and subscribe as well. Thank you for your time. I'm the ADV Medic, and we'll see you on the trails.